It is better to be impetuous than cautious, because fortune is a woman, and if you wish to keep her under, it is necessary to beat and ill-use her. What Machiavelli meant was not cruelty, but the principle of decisive action. Hesitation is the crack where defeat enters. Think of a soldier on the battlefield who pauses when the signal sounds. That pause is the moment an enemy blade finds him. In daily life, the blade is softer but no less fatal. Missed opportunities, overlooked promotions, and silence mistaken for weakness. You live in a world where hesitation is death, not of the body but of influence and progress. The predator survives by striking first. To think like one, you must train yourself to move with clarity when others stall, to act while the herd is still wandering. The first strike is not reckless impulse, but decisive timing, the willingness to advance when the prey is still paralyzed. Command yourself, stop waiting for perfect conditions. Advance even if the step is small, because momentum itself is power. Most people unconsciously act like prey. They fear judgment. They crave approval. They stay within the herd where it feels safe. But safety in numbers is an illusion. Herds attract predators. Those who hide in the crowd become faceless targets. You see it in meetings where voices blend into nothing, while the one who speaks clearly, even briefly, gains authority. You see it in social groups where laughter is forced and opinions are muted, while the one who stands firm sets the tone. Weak, I hope this is okay. The predator's edge lies in controlling how others see you. Control is not manipulation, it is the discipline of composure. When attacked with criticism, you do not flinch. Imagine someone challenging you in front of others. The prey defends nervously or grows angry. The predator listens, answers calmly, and redirects the room. That calm is power, because others see strength where they expect chaos. By mastering this edge, you make perception your armor. Do not reveal uncertainty. Do not justify excessively. Speak less, with more weight. Every word you utter must carry the authority of a blade unsheathed. To think like a predator is to live as if every hesitation costs. Every moment of silence is a weapon, and every perception is a battlefield. Remember this line: hesitation is death, decisive action is survival. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Machiavelli's words remind you that sovereignty begins within. Before you can rule in the outer world, you must first establish the throne of your own mind. If that throne is vacant, impulses, distractions, and the opinions of others rush in to seize it. A ruler without discipline is a ruler already deposed. The predator mindset demands that you wear discipline as your crown. This does not mean cold rigidity. It means order, structure, and clarity that protect you from chaos. A disciplined mind directs energy like a general arranging troops before battle. Without such command, your thoughts scatter and you are conquered before the fight begins. Every morning, every decision, every moment of choice is a coronation. You either place the crown firmly on your head or allow it to slip into the mud. Command yourself, decide the order of your day before the world does it for you. To exile weakness, you must recognize its disguises. Self-pity and excuses masquerade as comfort, but they are enemies inside the walls. When you tell yourself, "I don't have time," what you mean is, "I surrendered the throne." When you repeat, "I'll start tomorrow," you abdicate power to delay. These thoughts are not harmless. They are spies that open the gates for mediocrity. You must drive them out with ruthless clarity. Weak, I'm too tired. Strong, I act despite fatigue. To claim the throne fully, you must see yourself as sovereign over every impulse. Picture your mind as a great hall. Desires, fears, and distractions enter like unruly subjects, each shouting for your attention. If you step down from the throne, they riot. If you remain seated, calm and commanding, they bow. This visualization is not fantasy, but training. It conditions you to resist the pull of every minor urge. You can acknowledge the impulse to waste time or lash out, yet refuse to act on it because you are the ruler, not the servant. In practice, this might mean sitting silently while anger surges, choosing not to reply immediately to provocation, or redirecting restless energy into decisive action. You become a sovereign who controls the battlefield of thought instead of being dragged across it. When someone challenges your decision, the throne is tested. The weak respond with irritation or insecurity. The predator responds with calm command. Picture a colleague questioning your plan in front of others. Instead of rushing to defend yourself, you stay composed, acknowledge their point, then state your position with clarity. The room feels the weight of your composure, not the noise of your emotions. This is how sovereignty is proven, not by constant defense, but by calm dominance that ends debate without spectacle. The day begins as a battlefield. Dawn is not a gentle light. It is the opening trumpet of war. The predator knows this and rises before the herd. History shows that armies and leaders have long used the early hours to secure advantage. Armies marched at first light. Kings held council before distractions swarmed, and workers in every age who began earlier gained the edge over those who delayed. Rising early is not about ritual for its own sake. It is a symbolic act of conquest. While the majority lingers in warmth and hesitation, you step forward and claim ground. You send a message to yourself and to the world: the throne of the day is already mine. The first move sets the tone. In chess, the player who moves first dictates the shape of the game. In life, the first actions of your morning dictate the rhythm of your mind. If you open the day with chaos, scrolling endlessly, reacting to noise, you begin already on defense. You are prey chased across the board, forced to answer instead of dictate. But when you start with deliberate focus, you seize initiative. You write, you train, you learn, you build. These are not just tasks, but declarations of sovereignty. The early choice frames the rest. Weak: I'll see what happens today. Strong: I will decide what happens today. Weak: I hope I have time. Strong: I command my time now. The words you use are not decoration, they are weapons. Replace hesitation with command, and watch how your perception of control hardens into reality. The silent kill is the predator's advantage. When others waste their morning on noise, you strike quietly. This strike is not a shout or a display. It is unseen discipline. The writer who completes a page before dawn has slain distraction before it awakens. Morning is the test of sovereignty. The predator does not wait for conditions to be perfect, nor does he excuse himself with comfort. He rises before the herd, makes the first move count, and executes silent kills that compound into advantage. This is not about punishing yourself. It is about claiming the throne of the day before anyone else has touched it. Do not linger in the herd. Do not begin in weakness. Rise, strike, and command. Remember this line: own the morning, and you own the war. Sun Tzu wrote that if you are silent and still, you can make the enemy believe you are far when you are near. Machiavelli observed that men are governed by perception more than by truth, and silence often bends perception more than noise. Across history, the most dangerous figures have understood this. Silence is not absence, but a weapon. Stillness is the shield that conceals intention, and the blade that cuts without warning. The predator who waits is not passive. He is patient, watching for the moment when movement costs the least and delivers the most. The prey fills silence with nervous chatter, revealing weakness. The predator lets silence work as pressure until the other side breaks. Consider negotiation rooms where silence is used as a psychological ambush. In business, those who rush to fill every pause reveal desperation. A client demands a lower price. The weak negotiator flinches and speaks quickly to justify. The strong one remains silent, watching the discomfort grow. That pause forces the other side to reveal more than intended, often conceding ground without realizing it. Weak: I can lower the price if needed. Strong: this is the standard, and it speaks for itself. The silence between these words is the difference between command and submission. In leadership, the same principle holds. A manager confronted with criticism, who listens calmly, waits and responds after measured silence, demonstrates far more authority than one who reacts immediately. In that pause, you project control over yourself and the situation. The predator's stillness can be imagined as a coiled serpent. Motionless, it appears inactive, yet every muscle is ready. Its power is not in frantic movement, but in compressed potential. You must see yourself the same way when provoked or pressured. Instead of reacting impulsively, hold position, wait, let the moment sharpen. By not moving, you gather strength, and when you strike, it is with precision rather than waste. This discipline of waiting transforms your energy from scattered reaction into concentrated impact. You strike once, and the result is decisive. Stillness is not weakness. It is the highest form of preparation. It denies your opponent's certainty. It controls your own impulses, and it makes your eventual action impossible to counter. Practice this. In conversation, in conflict, in planning, resist the urge to fill the space. Let silence build gravity around you. Let stillness train your impulses to bow before your command. To weaponize stillness is to wield the unseen sword. Remember this line: silence cuts deeper than noise. Machiavelli wrote that men more quickly forget the death of their father than the loss of their patrimony. Behind those words is the law of sacrifice. Survival demands that something always be cut away. Predators endure not because they cling to everything, but because they eliminate without hesitation. History shows this again and again. Commanders abandoned supplies to keep speed. Leaders dismissed allies who became liabilities. Ruthless choices preserved power, while sentiment cost others their thrones. You cannot carry softness into war. If you try, the weight will drag you down before the battle even begins. To think like a predator, you must cut quickly and without apology when something weakens you. Sacrifice is not cruelty. It is clarity about what must die so that strength may live. In modern life, ruthless elimination begins with cutting noise. Distractions, addictions, and toxic ties bleed your focus. Every unnecessary scroll, every numbing habit, every draining relationship siphons power from your throne. The world pushes constant noise at you, but you must answer with decisive subtraction. Weak: I'll try to manage it all. Strong: I will remove what weakens me. Weak: I can't avoid this. Strong: I choose my battlefield. The predator does not attend every invitation or answer every message. He directs attention like a blade, cutting away the irrelevant so that energy flows only to the essential. You are not obliged to entertain every demand. The refusal to carry weight you do not need is not arrogance. It is sovereignty. The predator's diet is not only food, but everything consumed. Ideas, influences, people, and environments. Imagine your life as a hunt. What you feed on determines your strength. If you consume weakness, gossip, mediocrity, endless distractions, you weaken yourself. There will be moments when people around you resist your elimination. They may call you cold or distant. Handle it with calm authority. If someone protests when you refuse to waste time in their chaos, answer with composure, "I respect you, but I cannot invest my energy there." That clarity commands respect more than endless justification. You are not discarding people carelessly. You are eliminating what undermines your throne. Ruthless elimination is not about destruction for its own sake. It is about discipline, focus, and the refusal to carry weakness into war. Cut away softness. Cut away noise. Feed only on what strengthens you. Remember this line: what you cut away determines what you become. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must be both lion and fox, strong enough to frighten wolves and cunning enough to recognize traps. That principle is the foundation of the mask of command. Power is not only about action, it is about appearance. Predators do not show every thought, every fear, or every wound. They wear masks that conceal and intimidate, creating uncertainty in those who watch. The lion roars, the fox deceives, and both together create an image that discourages challenge. You must understand this. What people see is as important as what you do. If your face and voice show weakness, even when you hold strength, the herd will treat you as prey. The mask does not lie. It protects, it commands, it shapes perception into a weapon. In the modern world, masking is not a deception of morality, but a discipline of control. Body language is the first signal. The way you stand, the steadiness of your gaze, and the calm of your voice speak louder than explanations. Controlled speech builds authority. The prey rambles, over-explains, or justifies. The predator speaks few words with deliberate weight. In the digital age, your mask extends online. The images you share, the tone of your words, the consistency of your presence form a projection of strength or fragility. Weak. Sorry for bothering you. Strong. I appreciate your time. Weak. Maybe this will work. Strong. This is the direction. The predator refines his mask until it reflects confidence without arrogance and strength without noise. Visualize the predator's face as the mask you wear before the herd. It is not fake. It is chosen. It is the armor you place over raw emotion so that you remain sovereign no matter what comes. Picture yourself entering a room of rivals. Internally, you may feel pressure, but your mask is calm, unreadable, composed. That face commands silence before you speak. Like a coiled predator, you reveal nothing until you choose, then you strike with clarity. The mask does not trap you. It frees you. It prevents others from pulling you into their games and keeps you on the throne of perception. The mask is not hiding the truth. It is a guarding strategy. There may be moments when someone accuses you of being distant or unreadable. Handle it without flinching. Acknowledge calmly, then return to clarity. I stay focused on what matters. This response shows both self-possession and composure, turning potential criticism into proof of strength. Those who live unmasked become easy to predict and easy to exploit. Those who master the mask command respect even from critics. The mask of command is the predator's shield and sword. It intimidates without a shout and conceals without deception. Wear it with discipline. Build it through posture, voice, and composure. Let it harden perception into armor and sharpen it into a weapon. Remember this line: the mask you wear becomes the power you hold. It is better to be feared than loved. If you cannot be both. That sentence captures the essence of the inner assassin. Every predator carries within him a blade sharpened, not against others first, but against hesitation and weakness inside himself. History shows that rulers who endured were those willing to cut away rivals, softness, and indecision without pity. Octavian secured his power in Rome by eliminating those who threatened stability, choosing clarity over sentiment. Leaders who lacked such resolve were consumed by rivals who did not hesitate. The lesson is simple. Survival belongs to those who can act with finality. Without this inner assassin, your throne is stolen before you even sit upon it. In the modern battlefield, the rival is not always another person. It is hesitation, the soft voice that whispers for delay. The assassin within must strike this voice the moment it appears. Mental drills sharpen the blade. Count backward from 3 and act. Write the message. Lift the weight. Speak the decision. These drills bypass hesitation and train you to move when others pause. Weak, I'll wait until I feel ready. Strong, I act and readiness follows. Weak, I'm not sure if this is perfect. Strong, I refine after I move. Perfectionism is hesitation in disguise, and hesitation is death. Practice decisive movement in small things, and you will be armed for larger battles. Imagine your darker self as the assassin who walks beside you. He does not negotiate with weakness. He waits silently until hesitation rises, then strikes it down. In moments of doubt, picture this figure speaking. Do it now. Move forward. Cut hesitation before it breeds. This is not cruelty toward yourself. It is loyalty to your own sovereignty. By personifying the assassin within, you create a psychological ally, a voice that keeps you from betraying your own power. The predator survives not because he is always stronger, but because he refuses to let hesitation command him. There will be times when others challenge your decisiveness. A colleague may call you harsh for moving too quickly. Do not argue or waver. Answer calmly. Decisions move us forward. We can adjust as we go. That response shows the balance of steel and composure. It demonstrates that you are not reckless, but you refuse paralysis. The inner assassin is the discipline that keeps your throne intact. History shows the cost of leaders who delay. Daily practice sharpens your strikes against hesitation. Visualization gives you an ally within. Together, they ensure you move first, act cleanly, and claim ground before others see the chance. Remember this line: hesitation dies by your hand, or you die by hesitation. Inside you lives a pack of wolves. One is strength, discipline, and ruthless clarity. The other is weakness, indulgence, and hesitation. This truth is echoed in old folklore, where elders spoke of 2 wolves locked in constant battle within every man. The outcome was never decided by chance, but by choice. The one that thrives is the one you feed. This parable endures because it is more than a story, it is a law of power. Leaders across history understood it instinctively. They cultivated the wolf of strength with training, focus, and sacrifice, while starving the wolf of weakness by refusing comfort. Those who fed weakness collapsed. Those who fed strength ruled. In the modern world, feeding the right wolf comes down to your habits, your inputs, and the environments you allow. Every decision is a meal for one wolf or the other. If you start your day with distraction, you feed weakness. If you begin with clarity and work, you feed strength. If you surround yourself with people who complain, gossip, and indulge, you feed weakness. If you build alliances with those who sharpen you, you feed strength. Weak, I don't have time. Strong, I command my time. Weak, I'll do it later. Strong, I act now. Language itself is food for the wolves. Speak in the tongue of strength, and you reinforce it. Allow excuses to spill from your mouth, and you nourish hesitation. Even what you consume digitally matters. Endless trivial content fattens weakness, while knowledge and strategy sharpen the predator. Command yourself. Choose carefully what you feed upon, because it becomes what rules you. Visualize the wolf of weakness as something starving in the dark. It circles, waiting, but you deny it. You do not throw scraps of your time, your energy, or your focus to its mouth. Each refusal makes it weaker until it fades. At the same time, picture the wolf of strength growing powerful, its eyes sharp, its body lean, its presence commanding. This is not imagination for comfort. It is a practical visualization of choice. Every time you resist the lure of comfort or act against hesitation, you hand meat to the right wolf. Every time you indulge excuses, you betray yourself and feed the wrong one. The predator mind is not about killing the weak wolf instantly, but about starving it consistently. You do not allow pity for it, because pity is another meal. You do not justify its presence, because justification keeps it alive. You feed only strength. In time, strength dominates, and weakness has no voice. That is when your throne becomes unshakable. Remember this line: the wolf you feed becomes the ruler of your mind. Life is a chessboard, and every move you make decides whether you rise as master or fall as pawn. Napoleon marched with the precision of a grandmaster, calculating not just the next step, but the sequence that would unravel opponents. Caesar crossed the Rubicon, not as a reckless gamble, but as a move planned to force Rome into checkmate. Machiavelli studied such players because he knew power was never random. It was built like a game of strategy, where foresight outweighed strength. The predator does not stumble onto victory. He builds it piece by piece, sacrificing when needed, advancing when timing demands, and striking only when the board favors him. Modern life offers the same board with different pieces. Your career, relationships, and networks are positions to be arranged, defended, and advanced. If you treat them carelessly, you are pushed like a pawn, reacting to forces stronger than you. But if you think as a strategist, you see the lanes of influence, the patterns of opportunity, the traps of distraction. Weak, I'll see what comes my way. Strong, I will place myself where advantage is inevitable. Weak, I'll wait until I'm chosen. Strong, I position myself where they cannot ignore me. In a workplace, the predator does not simply do his tasks. He observes the lines of power, builds alliances where they matter, and avoids battles that drain energy without return. In relationships, he chooses carefully, investing only in bonds that strengthen his position instead of weakening it. Strategy means saying no more often than yes, not from arrogance, but from clarity. The predator's gambit is the ability to imagine moves ahead in every battle. When most people react to the moment, the strategist sees 3 moves forward. In a negotiation, he anticipates not just the offer on the table, but the counter and the endgame. In conflict, he knows that restraint now may force the opponent into overextension later. Visualize yourself as the player at the board, eyes scanning not just the piece in front of you, but the whole pattern. You may sacrifice a pawn, time, comfort, small indulgence to position your queen, your decisive force, for victory. The herd avoids sacrifice, but the predator knows it is the price of checkmate. There will be times when others criticize your strategic patience. They may call you calculating, cold, or distant. Respond without defense. I am focused on outcomes, not appearances. That calm authority ends the debate, because those who cannot see the board in full are not meant to dictate the moves. The chessboard of life belongs to those who act with foresight, discipline, and ruthless positioning. History teaches it, modern reality demands it, and your own survival proves it. Do not drift as a pawn, play as the predator, and dictate the game. Remember this line: see the board or be moved across it. The predator's strength is not random. It is forged daily through ritual, like steel tempered in fire. The ancients understood this truth. The Stoics practiced discipline through voluntary hardship, training themselves to endure loss without breaking. Spartans drilled in simplicity, stripping away comfort until resilience became their nature. Ritual was their weapon. Not superstition, but conditioning. By repeating small acts of strength, they created minds that could not be bent by fear or luxury. You must learn the same principle. Power is not built in sudden bursts. It is hammered into shape through repetition. Without ritual, your will rusts. With it, you become unbreakable. In the modern world, ritual is the predator's invisible armor. Exercise trains the body not only for health, but for command. Each repetition is a strike against weakness. Writing clarifies thought, sharpening the mind like a blade drawn across a whetstone. Fasting teaches control over desire, proving you own your body instead of being ruled by it. Solitude builds sovereignty, reminding you that you do not need constant validation to exist with power. Weak. I'll do it if I have time. Strong. This is non-negotiable. Weak. I'll wait until I feel motivated. Strong. Discipline begins without permission. These choices are not small. They are positioning on the battlefield of the day. By repeating them, you engrave dominance into your habits until action becomes instinct. Picture the forge of will as a blacksmith's workshop. Your mind is the metal placed on the anvil. Every ritual is a hammer strike. The fire is discomfort, the repeated tests you endure without flinching. At first, the metal bends unevenly, but with each strike it strengthens. Eventually, it hardens into steel. That steel is your will. It cannot be bought, borrowed, or faked. It is earned by submitting yourself daily to the heat and hammer. Imagine yourself entering the fire each morning, not to be consumed, but to emerge sharper, harder, more indestructible. Ritual is not punishment. It is the crown's defense. There may be those who mock your discipline, calling it obsessive or unnecessary. Do not defend or argue. Answer calmly. Ritual is the cost of strength. With that clarity, you silence critics without descending into their noise. The predator does not seek permission to train. He trains because the battlefield demands it. Your will is either rusting or being forged. Every choice either weakens the metal or strikes it stronger. Ritual is the predator's discipline, the daily act that makes you untouchable. Embrace it, repeat it, and let it mold you into sovereign steel. Remember this line: ritual is the fire where will become iron. Machiavelli observed that men more quickly forget the death of their father than the loss of their patrimony. The lesson is clear. Strength is not just possession, it is invulnerability. To become untouchable is to rise into a state where attack, insult, or threat cannot shake your throne. History offers examples of leaders who reached this level. Alexander became more than a man to his soldiers. He was a symbol that bound their loyalty. Napoleon at his peak was not simply a general, but an idea of inevitability, feared even before he marched. These figures were not flawless, but for a time they became untouchable because their presence carried weight beyond the individual. When people believe striking you risks their survival, you are no longer a target, you are an institution. In the modern world, untouchability is built through shields you forge deliberately. Reputation is the first armor. If your name carries weight for discipline, clarity, and results, attacks slide off because people trust what history has shown them. Wealth is another shield, not for vanity but for independence. The one who controls his resources cannot be bought or bent. Networks are the third. The alliances and relationships that make striking you too costly. Weak. I hope they approve of me. Strong. I build so much value that approval follows. Weak. I'm safe if unnoticed. Strong. I'm safe because I am too strong to move. Modern predators construct their fortresses not of stone but of reputation, capital, and alliances. Each adds a wall around the throne, ensuring survival even when challenged. There will be moments when critics accuse you of arrogance for carrying yourself with composure. Handle it with calm authority. Respond, not with defense, but with clarity. Strength is calm, not arrogance. That one sentence reframes the attack and reminds others that your composure is discipline, not conceit. The untouchable predator does not argue over insults. He lets silence confirm what his strength has already proven. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. The predator's final form is born when fear and respect fuse into one presence, when mastery of the throne, the battlefield, and the chessboard converge. This is not a single act, but the sum of every principle you have forged. The throne of the mind, the battlefield of mornings, the weapon of stillness, the law of ruthless elimination, the mask of command, the inner assassin, the feeding of the right wolf, the chessboard of life, and the rituals of iron will. All are pieces of the same strategy. Together they form the predator king, sovereign over himself and unshakable before others. History offers examples of this transformation. Alexander carried himself as more than a general. He became the embodiment of destiny, his image commanding loyalty beyond rational calculation. Caesar stood not just as a man, but as Rome itself, his presence turning hesitation into obedience. Even Machiavelli recognized that rulers who endure become symbols, not merely leaders. When a predator reaches this point, he ceases to rely on constant defense. His reputation, his structure, and his presence create such gravity that most challenges dissolve before they rise. This is the fact of power. Mastery of strategy makes you more than an individual, it makes you a force. The modern predator follows the same path with different weapons. In politics, those who project unflinching composure dominate conversations before words are spoken. In business, the predator who has built networks, capital, and results commands rooms without pleading. In culture, the one who crafts a reputation of clarity and strength becomes untouchable even under attack. Weak, I hope they recognize me. Strong, I position myself so they cannot ignore me. Weak, I'll wait for permission. Strong, I move with authority. The predator's power today is reinforced by the same pillars as the past: discipline, strategy, and perception, but delivered through the arenas of finance, influence, and communication. The throne has shifted forms, yet the law remains. Those who master themselves dictate the field. Those who fail drift as pawns in systems they do not control. To reach the final form is to transcend reaction. You no longer scramble to respond to attacks, because your throne is fortified by discipline, your strategy is several moves ahead, and your composure disarms critics. You no longer beg for recognition because you have built a fortress of reputation, alliances, and results. You no longer chase validation because your sovereignty is self-anchored. This is the apex predator state: ruthless yet calm, feared yet respected, patient yet decisive. The predator's final form is not given. It is built. You build it when you rule your mind as a throne, when you claim your mornings as battlefields, when you wield silence as a weapon, when you eliminate weakness without hesitation, when you wear the mask of command, when you sharpen your inner assassin, when you feed only the strong wolf, when you play the chessboard with foresight, and when you forge your will through ritual. Each is a piece of steel. Together, they form armor that cannot be pierced. When you embody the predator king, the modern predator, and the mythic fusion of lion, wolf, and serpent, you ascend beyond attack. You become untouchable not because no one strikes, but because no strike can move you. The throne is yours, not by inheritance, not by chance, but by relentless design. Remember this line: the final form of the predator is sovereignty unshaken. Prey live by chance. Predators, live by design. The difference is not size, wealth, or even luck. It is the choice to rule or to be ruled. History is filled with those who failed to choose. Nations fell because leaders hesitated. Armies were destroyed because generals refused to act. Individuals collapse for the same reason. Remain prey, and your life will be consumed piece by piece. You will serve impulses instead of commanding them. You will drift through days owned by others instead of shaping your own. Every hesitation, every indulgence, every surrender is an invitation for stronger wills to devour you. This is the final warning. Stay as prey, and you forfeit the throne before you ever touch it. But when you take the predator's stance, the world itself shifts. The modern predator does not need claws or armies. He shapes perception, commands presence, and directs energy with clarity. He wakes before the herd, eliminates noise, and enforces rituals that sharpen him daily. In business, he is not the one scrambling for approval, but the one setting the terms. In relationships, he is not the one begging for validation, but the one whose composure draws respect. Weak, I hope they notice me. Strong, I will not be ignored. Weak, I'll try my best. Strong, I will execute. The predator bends destiny not through arrogance, but through relentless command of self. You will feel resistance, and you will face critics, but composure is your shield. The predator does not argue with the noise of the herd. He moves forward while they chatter. Visualize the throne before you. Around it circle distractions, critics, temptations, and doubts. They cannot climb the steps unless you kneel first. If you remain sovereign, they cannot touch you. The predator's path is not about cruelty, but about sovereignty, ruling impulses, ruling time, ruling destiny. Every choice feeds strength or weakness. Every word projects command or surrender. Every act builds the throne higher or lowers it into the mud. You cannot remain neutral. To live as prey is to be consumed. To live as a predator is to reign. The lesson seals itself here. Stop being prey. Rule your impulses, your day, your destiny. The throne does not wait for hesitation, and it is never given. It is taken, held, and defended with discipline. Carry this with you as your final weapon. Think like a predator, move like a king.